All right, next on the list of the people that were at the Athlete Next Live event this year, it was like pretty much a month ago now. I'm going to be talking about Dave Tate. He's a strength and conditioning coach uh, with over 30 years of experience, and so he was there for like the MVP package on Thursday. So like we got to go over with him like squat and bench techniques and everything. As my cat is wanting attention like usual. Yes, you want to be the star of the video like usual, huh? Okay, here you go. You're making your appearance. Say hi. Hi. I'm learning how to do strength training. Yes. Lift, lift, lift. Yes, I know. You like always want attention and everything. Anyway, Dave Tate, like I said, is a strength and conditioning coach. And on Thursday, we were able to go over like the squat and bench press techniques. So like for instance, like when with squat, like I was able to like go in and check out and like a form and everything. So doing all the cues and like on like how to actually do like your typical like a back squat and everything. So for instance, I went in figuring like, okay, well, like I got up to like 375 a few years ago, and I recently got back up to like 345, and it's like, God, my lower back was bothering me when I was doing back squats. So like I went in figuring like, okay, I'm thinking it's my hips and everything. So like with going through all the cues, like basically like getting in position, and then you're getting down, like you have the bar on your back, and then you squat down, and you squat up. It's like going through like with just a 45-pound bar and everything, so you can get the technique down. And like with him being able to kind of have like a bird's eye view, like at my performance. So that's why like filming is such a good idea. So you can take a phone like this, turn it around, and put it like off the side, so you can sit there and like next to the squat rack, and you can kind of see how like where how you do like your squats and everything, and then you can think back like, okay, well, like this is how like okay, this is when you're looking at like the video and the replay. Okay, this is how I was doing this, and like you can do that like go watch and like, okay, I was doing this and I was doing that and everything. And so by actually having him go over the cues right there, it was great because you can do like the same thing right there. And so like for me, it seemed more of like kind of like the position on like my like shoulders, and like getting like more upright, and like it was more upper body and not like my hips, which I thought and everything. So that's why it's always good to have someone like Dave Tate, who's like who has like over 30 years of experience in like strength and conditioning coaching. Plus, he was like also like a power lifter as well, so he has the actual like experience on top of coaching. So it's like a good 1-2 punch and everything. So with that, like excuse me, it was a good like way to kind of like be able to like get where I was like kind of like screwing up in my squats. So now I go forward, and of course it's always an ongoing thing, like with proper form and proper technique and everything. You always have to be conscious of it, and especially when you're starting to get closer to like failure, and like where your form is going to start breaking down, and like of course there's different types of failure. There's like form failure, there's like mechanical failure, and then there's total failure, where like you just sit there and you're sitting there doing the squats, and like you're squatting like 400 pounds, and like you do like 10 reps, and then they're just starting to get to like the 11th and then 12th, and finally you get to the point where maybe you can't even do like that 13th. So like that's what's considered like a total failure and everything. So like there's different levels of failure as well and everything. So that's like a whole another discussion to talk about and everything. But like with here, I'm pretty much talking about like Dave Tate and what we went over with in the Athlete X Live on Thursday with the MVP package. And this is why I'm always big on like, hey, look, this is why you go to like, not only the AX Live, but you do the full 4 days, because you can get that one-on-one with the top of the line people that know what they're talking about. And so we went over squat, and then of course like the same thing like with bench press. So like the same kind of deal, like, okay, like you flare out your elbows and put more of the strain on your shoulders, or do you keep it more close, like do like a JM press like this, where you put your hands close together, so like you're putting more of the stress on your triceps, or do like the placement of like your hands underneath the barbell and everything. And then like also like the technique and like how you like unrack it and like you lower it and like push it back up and everything. So we went over the whole technique and like that and everything. So and another thing to also consider, like we went with like a barbell, so like barbell squats and barbell like bench press, like I said. And so the reason why barbells are so good is because you can like, put on like so much more weight, like versus dumbbells. Like for instance, like if you're holding two like 100-pound dumbbells in like your hands, your forearm strength is going to like fail a lot sooner than like your quad strength is. So that's why like that's in a sense where the barbells come into plays, so that like you put in, you're able to, and it's like okay, like the 200 100-pound dumbbells in your hands, and you're doing like pretty much like dumbbell squats where you're holding them on, by your side, and it'd be kind of hard to get them up on your shoulders and everything. Your upper body strength is going to fail a lot sooner with those 100-pound dumbbells than you like when your quad strength was. So that's where like, the whole idea with the barbells is it comes in handy, is because like you might be able to sit there and dumbbell press like 125 pounds for dumbbells, but like with the barbell you could quite possibly like go up to 4 or 5, maybe even 600 pounds on the barbell and everything. So that's where like a barbell comes in handy. Of course, you also might run into a situation where like for instance like 2 or 3 years ago I had like an issue with like a tendon right here, like my pec and everything, where like the barbell was bothering my tendon and everything. So I switched to more of dumbbells, and so like and put less of a strain on my tendons and everything. Yes, I had to lower the weight and everything, and so like you have to kind of also like look that's the disadvantage of the barbells, is that like you're in a fixed position. So like you can't necessarily like you can kind of in a sense hide your like also your weaknesses as well. So like for instance, you might have like a more dominant right pec versus like a left pec and everything. So a barbell would kind of hide that, whereas like the dumbbells you can't necessarily hide that as well, because it's more like a free weight. So like you might like the 125-pound dumbbells, for instance, like I said, you might you can see you're struggling more on your left side than like your right side. So that's why dumbbells kind of helps out with the barbells. But like with Dave Tate, he was teaching us the whole concept of technique with the barbells, because of the fact, and of course this is me a long-winded way of saying like barbells are so much so much better in able to put more weight on and be able to lift more, so you can put more your body under more stress to build more strength and everything. So but I'm also using an example like with me with how like I was having a tendon that was bothering me, so I use dumbbells. So like you might like have to kind of find a way to like work around the stuff that like now did I get like a major injury where I snapped it or something? No, it was just something that was kind of like a minor injury, where it was like when I was doing barbell bench presses it was bothering me, but when I was doing dumbbells I was completely fine. So like anything, like you have to kind of like find like ways around working around stuff that might bother you. And like it was like the same thing like probably about like a year ago, like for instance like doing pull-ups, I had another tendon was bothering me like in my elbow when I was doing pull-ups. Switched to chin-ups. I was and like of course also doing like resistance bands, using it like as help. So these are examples that I've gone through, like where you kind of have to work through like injuries and stuff like that. But like why we have to go through like technique with barbells is because you're dealing with such a heavier load and everything. So like I'm using the 125 dumbbell example for like the dumbbell bench press, or even if you have like them in your hands doing like your hands and kind of off to your sides doing like squats and everything. You're not going to be able to do as much weight as if you were to load that stuff up on like a barbell and everything. So that's why like having Dave Tate come in and kind of go over the techniques for squats and bench and everything is always good, because you get that one-on-one. And like I said, like with me, I was figuring my weak link was my hips with the squat and everything, and it turns out it was actually my upper body. So now I have like a insight like, oh hey, here's where I was actually screwing up. It wasn't actually my hips, it was my upper body. all right, I can now adjust and kind of like, okay, well now I can start thinking more of this and like how like I hold it and how like wait, I can do this and like make those adjustments and everything. Now, I unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do like the bench press and everything, so like I'll have to try get in and try it this next time and everything. So the previous two videos and this one, you can kind of see the progression from going with Danny Cavaldo with calisthenics to Dave Schmidt with the resistance bands. Now with Dave Tate kind of getting into like the barbells, and so you get that the like progressive overload through going with body weight, resistance bands, and barbells. And of course, like anything, you don't need to stick with just one, like, oh well, I'm sticking with just barbells and only barbells because you need to lift heavy and always heavy and everything. So each has their own advantages, and they all have their own strength curves, and they all have their own place. And so there is no like you have to do barbell and only barbell. So this is like with the going over these three guys so far, you now have like ideas on like, okay, we got body weight, we got resistance bands, and now we got barbells. So now we got even more tools to our trade and everything. So next week I'll be taking a break from going over the guys, people that were there at AX Live to do like the usual training program review, because I'm going to be finishing up the Bane program this upcoming week. So I'll be doing that, and then I'll be getting back to like at least for 2 or 3 more weeks of people that were at the AX Live, and kind of doing like a slightly deeper dive into like what we were able to go over in AX Live, and again the kind of showcase, hey look, this is pretty much the stuff that you it's there, and this is why you want to go to the AX Live event every year.